So I'll be sharing some thoughts about digital platform pathways for entrepreneurship, both on the education and the development side. Now, Urania's probably going to look at that image on the right and think, hang on a second, it's not a laptop, but let's just pretend it's a laptop for the moment. Okay. What do entrepreneurs want and need? So let's focus, first of all, on that aspect and then come back and design some elements. They want a community. It's a very lonely world being an entrepreneur. Yet to know that there are people around you physically, and Rania talked about the importance of the human element, but as well as connected through online sources. They need education. They do need to understand technical issues. They understand entrepreneurship, legal, accounting, product development. So education, many elements of which are traditional, are part of what's required. Hand-holding and advisory. What that means is people who are experienced can provide mentoring, can provide options about how do I deal with this? How do I deal with the next step? How do I interact with people? How do I select a board? How do I select potential customers? Market need. Market need is one of the things that we at GOC specialize in, but I've got this great idea, opportunity. I think it's wonderful. I'm going to start developing it. But if you look on the slide and see the map, is someone in South America going to be interested in that product? How about someone in South Africa, India, Afghanistan, North America, Switzerland? It's really hard often for entrepreneurs to find out what the unmet need is in different parts of the world. Quick execution. Entrepreneurs by nature are fidgety people. They want to get things done. They're not going to sit and take a holiday for a week and go to the beach. I've never met anyone in that category who says, my idea of relaxation is beach. They need global role models. They need to see that during this frustrating process, there are people who are successful. People that they may have met at a conference or a gathering who are then proceeding and doing some very fascinating things. They love excitement and performance. That is in their nature. What does a platform pathway look like? And why is it necessary to have that? Well, a pathway and platforms enable duplications within a city, within a region, within a cluster, within a country. Replication exterritorially, which means in another country. So why not have similar pathways in various countries that therefore enable consistency? When you have a pathway, you are then able to integrate real-time best practice and global themes. Hello, COVID's just happened. That's opened up global themes. Before that, we had globalization. We had IT clusters and servicing moving from India, Philippines, Silicon Valley doing different things. Tourism being underserved initially by IT, but that's moving up as well. So the ability to have real-time integration is a mechanism that very few people talk about, but it's extremely critical in this reactive world where things happen and we need to provide solutions as soon as possible. Otherwise, we're going to have problems such as lockdowns. Reducing risk, increasing value and speed to market. Well, that's what happens when you have a pathway. You reduce the risk because you can cross-check sources from around the world, which means if someone's investing in you or someone's looking to co-develop with you or use their intellectual property, increasing the value, and there is a resulting speed to market. Co-modification. of entrepreneurial commercialization. Well, what does that mean? Well, now we can get online and order books from the US or any part of the world, and they will be delivered to my house within a period of time. The idea that someone can pack the books, ship them, get them through customs, deliver them to my residence, knock on the door, it's here, is now not a problem. It's become a commodity now. Well, we have the opportunity to undertake various elements of entrepreneurship as a commodity. I will give an example later on as to what that means in terms of impact. The last one, vast solutions to social issues. When I was involved with commercialization and entrepreneurship 20 years ago, the idea that you could put a proposal to some business angel investors to solve a social issue, it's laughable. Oh, I don't care about social issues. I'm there to create the next drug, the next IT solution, the next product. Whereas now, social entrepreneurship is real. It is entering the financial space. People understand the return. So the corporate social responsibility of 15 years ago, which was a buzzword, now is starting to filter into real solutions. Don't get me wrong. It's only about 0.1% of where it needs to be, but it's starting to find a path. And we're very excited about that. Now, the relevance of digitized platforms to entrepreneurship, as has been discussed by some of our previous speakers. And you'll see that I've got the deliverables that I've referred to in the previous slide. Community, they need education, they need mentoring and advisory, they need market, need awareness, quick execution and global role models. But what's the next column? The human side. That's the primary mechanism for these deliverables. Now, the tool set that we attach to it is the digital platforms. But as has been said by many educators in the past couple of months, you can't remove the human side. And we've seen, for example, the rush of online learning tools for children to significantly defect their quality of learning because the human side's dropped down. But the good news is here is that digitized platforms for entrepreneurs can leverage very simply and effectively these deliverables. Now, who can provide this? Now, this is an interesting situation. Is it national? Is it global platforms? Is it, who can do this? Is there one group that can do this? So traditional institutions that we're aware of are the primary and secondary. And we've seen this recently with COVID. The tertiary, we've seen minus half a dozen years ago with online education. So they're the sort of traditional institutions. Then there's the community cultural rethink groups who say, listen, I think, we should also look at providing elements of these platforms. Then there's the supranational bodies, the Googles, the Facebooks, et cetera, who think, hang on a second, we can provide digitized platforms. And then there are international institutions, United Nations, World Health Organizations. Can they be part of this? And everyone's talking about this. But I think what we have the opportunity here is to be a new entrant which can intersect the expertise provided by these other existing institutions to deliver what entrepreneurs need, because there are very different skill sets that entrepreneurs need. And the digitized platform is very hard to manage each of those from traditional institutions or supranational bodies. It requires a combination or new entrants. So let me, just before we close, let me give you an interesting scenario. So we wrote an article in a journal recently about artificial intelligence and smart algorithms. Now, how can digitized platforms have helped us in COVID or the next pandemic? Let's have a scenario. Okay, so there's an infectious disease outbreak in, let's not call it Wuhan, let's call it Melbourne, Australia. There are 50 people that have an outbreak of this disease. Okay, maybe we have deaths, maybe we have some severe issues. Okay. With digitized platforms and entrepreneurial environments, the key supply chain, the researchers, the people who are developing treatments, vaccines, pills, the people that are developing protective equipment, the people that are in the tourism area, they get an alert saying, oh, guess what? So a subset get an alert. Guess what? There's an outbreak in Melbourne. Can we all use our brains from different parts of the world and come up with solutions? Now, what are we seeing at the moment in that regard? We're seeing 120 groups that are developing vaccines. Who knows how many of those will get through, but it doesn't matter. We're seeing now these efforts. Well, in a digitized platform environment, that can occur almost instantly. Now, we do require elements of transparency internationally, but this is possible through these platforms. So these platforms can be created by new entrants, I think, is the best way to do it, where these are groups of individuals and organizations such as SAIARD connecting with different parts of the supply chain to deliver what's needed, because it's a combination of commercial smarts as well as education smarts. And that would have made a huge impact, I think, in the COVID, because it's a different way of doing things. So that's the end of the presentation. Thank you for the opportunity, and congratulations to the organisers and to the speakers. I must say I've been extremely impressed with the speakers